Who can remember the 3 stories that we read last week?
These kids really know who the principal is, who the dean is.
I've worked really hard on building a good personal relationship with all of my teachers.
It's not a threat to have her come in my classroom. I know she's here to help me to get better and help give me feedback.
Our goal with feedback is to help them improve. You increase the rigor of your lesson. Nice job.
We use it to see growth in our students. We can watch the changing. Basically, we have it lined up by subject and then also by their score. And instead of just being at classroom by classroom by classroom, it's grade level. So it gives you a good picture of what the grade level looks like and what they're doing.
Okay, what we're going to do today is I've got your MAP class progress reports for you. What we're going to do is identify students who are not making typical growth. I know that in our last PD that we identified our Tier 2 and Tier 3 kids. Some of them might overlap, but some of them are not the same because you have some kids that are scoring above that might not be making the typical growth.
For us, we look a lot at Tier 2 and Tier 3 kids, and to us a Tier 2 kid is a child who is below grade level, and a Tier 3 kid is someone who is 2 grade levels below or more, and that is based on our MAP data.
Okay, so typical growth would be at 50%. So what I brought today was some highlighters so we can draw just a big box around the kids who are not making typical growth. So all the kids, just draw a big box around them.
What if you know that the student that typically struggles with classwork, like Sean wasn't here, he wasn't present for it. I mean, I've been including him as a Tier 2 student, just kind of covering.
If he's included as a Tier 2, I mean, you can go ahead and put a box, include him in the box.
Okay, so if we were already including them.
But these might not necessarily be students that are you see struggling in class. They might be above.
Yeah.
So yours would go starting there. Yep.
For those kids that aren't meeting typical growth, we can use instructional data to find their weakest area, which you'll find on the back. So we can identify each child's weakest area on the map and then come up with some strategies using instructional data to boost them up. You know, using your paras, using workshop time. So it's just a tool for you to use so you can have a plan of how you're going to get these kids to make their typical growth to get them to where they need to be. And if you already have them on your Tier 2 paperwork, because you've already got your possible interventions, you don't need to redo it. So just the kids that are not already Tier 2, Tier 3.
Having her, share with us the kids that we needed to highlight today showed me students who I never thought that I would need a big focus on, and so that was great. Children who are actually really high in my class are just kind of staying high, but not raising the bar. So working with Erin today on that really helped me identify a couple kids that I need to now go back and do little plans for. We have a group that is concepts of print and vocab and word structure, because there was just a smaller amount of those two, so we made one group. Then we have a big group of comprehension, and then Amanda gets a group for phonological awareness, which kind of makes sense for a Young Fives teacher. And then we have one group that's just extensions, beyond extensions, like they're just flying. So.
Dana, are you doing the extension group?
Yeah, that's my group. Yep, we're doing inflectional endings right now. So ED, ING, and S.
So you're using instructional data to pull off activities, to do ideas.
Right on.
And this is different than how you did it last time, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Last time it was just you had 2 mediums and a low and a high, right?
We're using data a lot more now for it.
It'll be interesting to see their growth compared to, their fall to winter and then winter to spring now that you've made these changes.
half of you are going to be bowling. Half of you are going to be working on a worksheet. Then we're going to do what? Switch.
So if we're about to do math tubs, for an example, we'll be on the carpet and I'll let them know, okay, well, we're about to do math tubs, and for math tubs, your conversation level is such and such. If you need help, what are you gonna do?
Here's some expectations. If you have a question, just raise your hand. Okay? What do you think a good voice level for this might be? 3, okay? Talking to people who are sitting at the table you chose. It says write the number that tells how many of each shapes are in the picture. So you're going to count the number of squares and write it on the line. You're going to count the number of circles and write it on the line. You're going to count the number of triangles and write it on the line. And you're going to count the number of squares and write it on the line. That's showing me our learning goal that you can identify those shapes. Oh! You picked up this one too, so how many triangles do you have to draw? 1 for this one and 1 for this one. 1, 2 of them. Good, all right. Oh! And we're going to motivate our last 2 friends who need encouragement to count by 2s.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20.
Nice job. Give them a round of applause. All right.
Our dismissal, I feel, is extremely safe. We make sure that nobody enters our room, they stay outside of our classroom, and we exit 1 kid at a time, and only to parents that we know are on their emergency contact. A reward for me is just knowing that I'm making a difference for somebody, doing something for children, and hopefully knowing that my children someday will go to a school just like this or even this school and have the same interaction with somebody and hopefully fulfill their needs in education too.